Good evening, Flames fans. Welcome to another edition of Flames Unfiltered, co-hosted by yours truly, Kyle Lewis and Brad Burud. Brad, what's going on?
Geez, not a positive week in Calgary. That's what's going on. You know what? The only good news
we're gonna get right into it. Okay, perfect.
Oh, well, no. Let's ease into it. Deadline day is over, so that's good. We don't have that hanging over our heads anymore. But I don't know. It was kind of a painful week. You know what? Sucks the most, and I think every fan that's in a market that's struggling deals with the same thing. It's like, as much as me and you and most of the fan base knew that we weren't going to be a playoff team, we kind of knew that at maybe Christmas time, right?
Yeah.
There was still hope, right? But after going out and getting like obliterated by Florida 5-1, Carolina 7-2, and Colorado 6-2, like we know now. Like, I don't need mathematical elimination to tell me we're eliminated.
No. And now we are 10 points out.
10 out with 17 to go.
Oh,
bro, we're not making
but see, this is what happens. So all of a sudden, well, not really all of a sudden necessarily, but like we're done. We're emphatically, absolutely fucking done. And other teams like the Sabres are about 5 points out after being 14 points out just a few weeks ago. So the deadline's passed. There's no more changes apart from, call-ups, send-outs, that kind of stuff. We're so, like, there's a kid that I work with that he loves hockey. He works on the retail side of the business, and he loves to make fun of me when the Flames lose. And they're actually losing, like, not just losing, they're getting
slaughtered,
smoked. But they traded half their defense. So now all of a sudden, you're dressing guys who none of them really have played a regular. 3 of the 6 have not played a regular NHL shift the entire season. So it's like you basically gutted your decor, who were already heavily relying on Markstrom to be superb, right? So there's a bit of relief. Yet, like, you hear some of those songs, like, feels good feeling this bad, kind of.
Well, the only thing that I don't like is
actually Warren had a song like that in '95. Yeah.
I knew we weren't going to make the playoffs,
we knew,
right? But it's almost like now, though, like the games are not competitive, so the excitement level of watching is like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, I got all excited about, Marimanov scoring last night, because that was cool. It was a great shot, but that was, and Vladar made some crazy saves, and that was it.
You texted me last night, this is fun. And I'm like, is Kyle drinking? Because in about an hour, this isn't going to be fun.
No, Kyle wasn't. Kyle's had a cold, so Kyle hasn't been drinking at all. And I drank enough in Calgary to last me the rest of this month. So yeah, no, it was fun for a bit, because even though the Flames were being outplayed, outshot, out everything, they were up 2-1, and then they weren't. And then they really weren't, and then my God, they weren't.
But you know what? And then this is something that's interesting, and it's an interesting approach. Is that, like, we heard from so many people in the fan base, tank, and like, I understand the reasoning. I really do. But you know what? It sucks. It's no fun. It's no fun losing. We're not tanking. We just suck. And it's no fun. It's I don't care. If you're truly a fan, I can't believe that you think this is fun to watch us move up in the draft. I want to draft somebody good, but like, this is no fun. And people were calling in last night on Fan 960, and people are upset on the socials. And it's like, wait a minute, these are the same people that were like, this team sucks and we're not going to make the playoffs like 3 months ago. And it's like, I don't know. I saw, and this isn't even my X factor, but I'm going to throw out a tweet that I saw last night. This Papa Mitch guy wrote, as fans, we asked for this direction. We cried for change, and Conroy is making changes. With that in mind, I sure hope fans in attendance aren't booing the boys off the ice if we lose tonight. The hard times start now. Let's hang in there and be patient. And I think, I'll add one more thing. You damn well better still buy tickets.
Yeah. Especially with a crappy Canadian dollar in a small market like that. We don't want to go back to the Young Guns era of, season ticket drives, and we got to hit this many, or the team may have to be sold. And it's kind of like what's going kind of like what's going on in Winnipeg. Mark Chipman and his group, True North, but they're trying to get ahead of it. That's what they're doing. People are like, oh God, moving. They're not in danger of moving. It's a solid market, but that ownership group is smart, I think, to start waving the flag and say, hey guys, remember you missed us? We were gone.
But
like,
one of the things that worries me the most, though, is that when you're throwing out ticket prices of $200 for lower bowl, $250, like how many families can go to this stuff?
Well,
how many times
are they gonna spend that money on a team that gets absolutely smashed every time they play?
Well, that's just it. And so that it actually worries me. And I know we're getting a new arena, and I know I'm probably 50 steps ahead of where I need to be, but like, damn it, we called for a rebuild, retool, call it whatever the hell you want to call it. We
like
better
Tesla, call it what you want.
We yeah, exactly. We better support we better support them along the way, though, right? Isn't that part of the deal?
Well, it is. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm dying here. Yeah, it is. So long as you've got entertaining product, right? And entertaining players.
Let's talk about our players and
a few that are left.
Yeah. I saw something today. Let's get this out of the way because this is crappy news. I saw today that Eric Francis reported that Nazem Kadri wants to have a meeting with Conroy at the end of the season to look into his role and what direction this team is going. He didn't sign up for a rebuild. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Kadri. We didn't sign up for your sucky first season here either.
Yeah.
I don't understand why players, and I'm not just picking on Kadri because there's a ton of players that do this. That frustrates me. You sign a long-term deal. Do you think it was the Flames management that were like, you know what? Like, screw this winning. We're not going to win anymore. Let's just be shitty and not sign UFAs and rebuild. No, this isn't the direction they wanted to go either. But when you wrote on the dotted line and you wanted those $8 million, like you were perfectly fine with this organization. Right?
Well,
I get frustrated with that.
Yeah, and rightfully so, because you did sign up for whatever the team goes through because you signed with this team. I mean, is it ideal? No, of course it's not. It's not ideal for any of us.
It's not ideal for. Do you think Ryan Huska wants his team to suck? Do you think Craig Conroy is like, oh, this is wonderful. I love this. I love having to trade off 5 UFAs my first year. Yeah. No, this isn't what any of us want, but it's what's in front of us.
Yeah, and I still think this can be turned around reasonably quickly, but I'm not going to entertain. You know, if Cgy wants to talk to the team, to Conroy to say, okay, what's the plan for the summer? You know, blah, 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 blah. Hey, great. I think that's his prerogative. He should do that.
Yeah.
But any talk of I didn't sign up for a rebuild, like, you know what? Yeah, you signed up for whatever this team went through. And
I have a solution. Score 50, then we'll be able to trade you. Score 40, then we'll be able to trade you. Yeah. But outside of that, like, and I'm not trying to be a smartass, but outside of that, when you have a contract for $7 million for 5 more years after this, and you are currently 33 years old, you know, that's a hard sell. So you might have to like bite your lip and pull your ass off in Calgary.
Well, that, or again, you know, this never gets talked about, and there's obviously a lot of ramifications that come with it and difficulties, but like restructure your contract, mutually agree to part ways with the team.
Like he's going to do that.
Well, that's what I mean. But you know what? You want to be that competitive? Go sign a contract somewhere else. Like, what do you want me to tell you? You signed up for this. Whatever this is what you signed up for.
I know. I'm with you. I agree completely with you.
And again, I always come back to this. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but I got to say this again. Roman Turek did this to stay with the team in 03-04. I don't know how he did it. I don't know exactly what he did, but he took a major pay cut to stay with the team.
Can you even do that, though? Does the CBA allow that anymore? I don't think it even allows it anymore.
I don't know. But the two parties could find a way to mutually terminate the contract if they had a mind to. So I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how it works. All I'm saying is just this is what you signed up for. So again, end of season meeting, great idea. What are we going to do this summer? Great conversation. You know, but I didn't sign up for this. Don't buy it. Fuck off. Now, that's also from Eric Francis. It could be from Sarah. If it's from Saravelli or Kevin Weeks, I wouldn't believe it at all.
No, I wouldn't either.
But I understand that Cgy didn't sign up for that. Cgy signed up to replace the role of one of Gaudreau Tkachuk as a star player in this team. They're supposed to remain competitive. And many argued before the start of last season they're a Stanley Cup contender. That didn't happen. So,
and I agree with him. Like nobody really wants to go through this, but like it's where we're at. I mean, it just is. And then this is, I'm hoping this is quick, but I worry a little bit because the pieces that are non-movable, the Huberto, the Kadri, have been better this year. Both of them have been better this year,
100%.
but
100%.
they're still not what I would consider cornerstones. I thought they would be. I didn't think Kadri would be, but I thought Huberto would be, but he didn't. And he still could though, because he's really much improved lately. Although the
he's
last
racking up the assists, he's making,
I thought he sucked pretty bad the last 2 games.
everybody did, except for the
Yeah.
goaltenders.
Yeah.
Really.
And that's another, let's talk about, geez, we're going from one thing to the next, aren't we?
Well, let me throw something in here first.
Yeah.
I know you're not the biggest fan, but is this not a cool Blasty hat?
I do like it. And I was going to comment on it, and it fits tonight because I threw the Blasty background on too.
Yeah. So this one is
From the team
arena exclusive. So you get it at the team store, at the Dome. And
It's
I saw
nice.
it. Yeah, I like it. I like the
I like it
shadow.
a lot.
Yeah. Thanks,
Good
man.
hat. Good
Okay,
hat.
awesome. All right, on to goaltending.
So,
How does anybody take us seriously if we can't take ourselves seriously?
goaltending. I think Dan Vladar's been really good lately.
Man, that save on McKinnon last night, the first period. Mwah, chef's kiss.
And another thing, like I don't care what anybody says. I think this guy's a really solid backup goalie in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, you said that to me in a text last night, and I agree. Absolutely.
I think and I'm not saying he's a starter. I'm just saying he's a very, very solid goaltender backup goaltender in this league. And now I just don't know what happens with the rest of the goaltending or what should happen. Okay, let's say you're the coach the rest of the year. What do you do for goaltending? Because Markstrom is day to day with a lower body injury, is like 18th of the year. What do you do?
I think you meet with your goaltenders. You start by meeting with Jacob Markstrom. He's your undisputed number one. Start with the simple question: what do you want? Do you want to try to play as much as you can, try to drive your value up, but you're worried we're going to hurt your value and you want to rest more? We do want to work these young guys in, but work with us and we'll work with you. Because this season's lost. It's a total write-off.
This is like a threefold question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important that we figure out what Dustin Wolf is before the end of the year. And that doesn't mean 3 games in spotty play. That means a run of games.
Yeah.
I also don't think that we can completely determine what he is based off this year. But I also do not at all feel comfortable handing him the keys with him and Dan Vladar next year. I would feel a lot more comfortable going Markstrom and Wolf for the next 2 years. And I know people in Calgary are going to probably shoot me for saying that, but I don't think the return on Markstrom is going to be as big as everybody anticipates it is going to be, because I just don't. Because goalie returns are usually not worth a shit. And I think that if we really want to be a safe factor and you really want to look out for Dustin Wolf, you put him with Markstrom for the next 2 years. And he gets 50-50, maybe more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think you're asking for a holy hell thing if we say, Markstrom, have a nice day, you're on to wherever, and here you go, Dustin. We got Danny Vladar in the background for you.
Well, they're not mutually exclusive, right? Because the Flames could move on from Markstrom if the trade's right. And I think this summer, because of a weak goaltending market, there'll be some good trade offers potentially.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as far as goaltenders go, I'm not saying it's going to blow the doors off, but there's a good trade to be had. At least then you make the trade. If that's what Markstrom wants to, obviously, there's no movement clause.
Yep.
And you look at, who else is out there? Like, again, we've talked about guys like Cam Talbot in the past, stopgaps.
So you get rid of Vladar too?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I need to see.
Fine. I mean, I think Vidar's fine.
Well, he is, but does he want to stick around too?
Well, he's under contract. I don't give a shit. It's not like he has any leverage, right? Like, what leverage is he going to have?
None.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, as much as I love Dan Vladar, he's going to get us a 4th rounder in return. Like, I don't think he's getting any. I don't think there's any leverage there at all. But
I think you might get it up to a 3rd if you have a team that really wants a competent goaltender, like a Columbus or somebody, like I said before. But anyway, we'll see.
I thought that would have
not a lot. Not a lot.
I just sit and I look at this and I'm like, so do you feel more comfortable with Wolf and Talbot as you do Vladar and Wolf? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I love Talbot, but I mean, I'm just like, that's kind of a roll of the dice.
Well, and Talbot is also, just to be clear to our listeners, Talbot in this case is goaltender 1A, let's call him, because there could be somebody else, right?
He's an example. We're just
yeah, and he's a good example because of the role he's played the last few years. But again, with the position the team is in, like if Jersey comes back in the summer and says, "Hey, Dawson Mercer's still on the table," it's like, okay, we should probably find a way to make this happen. In my opinion,
I agree. I'm with you, but I do not think New Jersey's going to do that. I could be wrong. Gosh, I'd love to know, but everybody thinks they know. None of us know.
We're all scrambling for answers right now. Like I see the stuff, like looking at the Flames draft odds and all that. It's like, yeah, like we do kind of need to embrace that.
So,
but you want it, like you got to ice a competitive team. And again, this draft is not the end all be all of NHL drafts. So I'm not as enamored with, unless it's a number 1 or number 2 choice. I mean, it's like this whole first round pick thing at the deadline. Is there that big of a fucking difference between a late first round pick and an early second round pick?
No,
not at all.
No. Like, what's funny? You want to hear a funny story today? I'm driving to work and I'm listening to NHL radio on Sirius XM. And every morning this week, so it'd be the second morning. What's today? Tuesday? No, today's Wednesday. So it was the third morning they did it. They're doing these mock draft boards. You're the draft simulator. Have you seen that on your phone yet? Where they
yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So anyways, guess who moved up 10 spots to the number 1 pick today?
Is it all these logos I'm staring at?
The Calgary Flames.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't know. But I mean, again, it's a difficult position to be in because you gotta embrace what's happening. It is what it is. The team's terrible. Got a couple long-term contracts, but you can simultaneously hope for good efforts and wins and be looking forward to the draft in the summertime. You don't have to be on team tank. I don't believe.
No, like, I don't know. I sit and I look, okay, and I saw also a lot of people this week. What do we think of the new guys we got? Well, I don't know. Is it fair to judge Miromanov on 2 games, 3, or is it 2 or 3 games? 2 games. Joel Hanley, I don't know. I don't know what we got there yet. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea. But I mean, it's fun. It's fun watching. It's fun finding out.
I know one thing. I think our worst 2 defensemen in the last 2 games are McKenzie Weegar and Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah, they've been bad. Anderson's been bad for a bit.
Weegar looked like he went to a strip club the other night. I mean, he was freaking awful last night.
Oh man,
I was so pissed last night at him because now is when we really need those guys to like shore up the back end. I don't know. It was a gong show the last couple nights watching our defense.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of pressure on those top guys, now that
it is.
10 and Hanifin on. So, which is no excuse, really. I mean, it is and it isn't, but it's just.
It's not like they're new guys in the league, though. Like, come on.
No.
These are guys we were going to slap captains on. Like, seriously, we're going to slap captains C's on them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like you're going to have your off nights. I get it. But, I mean, it was freaking 2-on-1 because Weegar pinched here or pinched there or got stuck on a line change here. It's like, oh my God. Clear out the guy in front of the net. Otherwise he scores right in front of you like he did last night. I don't know.
Oh man, it's hard to watch.
God, it's just freaking painful stuff.
Oh yeah. Vegas is up next.
Bring in the last 2 Stanley Cup champions to solve the problems, right?
Yeah. Or expose the shit out of them. Yeah. Anyway,
what do you think of Kevin Rooney signing $1.3 million for a one more year?
I don't really know why they gave him the same money.
I don't think my first thought was, did you have to give up 1.3? But then I'm like, well, what the hell's the difference? 1 million or 1?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could have got away with $900K. I figure. I mean, where's he going to go?
I don't know.
I couldn't believe they gave him that money in the first place when Brad Treliving did. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I thought he was, that was, you know what though? He got a screw job because that was the first signing after Gaudreau walked on us, and we're like, what the? This is who we're getting. Remember that
Oh,
day?
that was so unfair.
Oh, it was such an unfair thing for him. I feel bad for him still to this day for that.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. That wasn't cool. But that whole thing was so poorly managed at the end of the day. So anyway, but we have enough current misery to talk about. Let's not dwell on past misery too much.
It's one more pass thing. Noah Hanifin says says that he didn't put the team in a difficult situation. Like, you didn't, huh? You told us what teams you could trade to, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to say, you know what, I had the leverage to be able to do it. I need to look out for myself, and I'm sorry for doing it, but I had to do it for the betterment of myself. I'd be like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. But don't tell me, like, I don't know. I thought it was a hostage situation. And I think our return reflected it slightly. I don't think it'd have been a tremendous amount of difference, but
No, I didn't appreciate anything with the way it was handled, honestly. And apart from a few exceptions, the Blake Coleman's of the world, it really makes it hard, I think, for this team to draft American players going forward, which is funny because it was a hub for American players at a college in the 80s.
Do you think that's a factor?
Well, I don't know. We've seen it happen twice with high-profile players in the last 3 years. So,
but I think there's high-profile Canada players that want to play in the U.S. for some reason.
Well, tax reasons for sure. Climate. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth on that, but I mean,
I do think the COVID thing played a role. I really do.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens too. Like with guys like Coronado, assuming that he becomes an everyday NHLer, which I think he will. See how maybe it plays out with him. I think it depends. I mean, maybe in certain regions. I don't know.
I think we might be thinking more into that than we should, simply because of we got burned a couple times in a row, and
and we're fucking depressed.
I think we might be thinking too much into that. I mean, when you lose Gaudreau and Tkachuk, it's like, ugh. And then Hanifin, it's just, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Maybe look at this as a blessing. Let's see what Hanifin signs a long-term contract. We might be like, whew, good thing he's gone. I didn't want to pay that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Since we're covering bad news, that's largely what we have. We're just going to mention very quickly, if I may, about Tapirani being his rights being relinquished by the Flames as they should be. He's been found guilty of sexual assault charge in his native Finland, which he committed as a minor, I guess. Not a big news item. The guy was a second-round pick playing in Swedish Elite League.
Did we not know this when we drafted him?
No. As far as I know, we didn't.
It had happened, though, right?
Oh, yeah. It happened. We weren't aware of it. So, anyway, I mean, I shouldn't say it's not big news because it's a problem in hockey culture. Obviously, that's part of that news. But, I mean, in terms of a player, and it's like, okay, like, we're wiping our hands clean of this. See you later.
I'm going to push back.
Go ahead.
I'm going to push back on one thing you said there. I don't think it's a hockey culture problem. I think it's a society culture problem.
Well, it's privileged, privileged kids playing hockey at a high level, no consequences for the actions. You could call it a society problem, but I guess we don't, because it is. Well, we don't see the same coverage for all these different instances where they're pro hockey players. It's you hear a bit more about it. But I do agree with you. And
I just think we have a lot less caring for other people in this in both U.S. and Canada, and I think
the fucking world. Apparently in Finland too. Apparently, because that's where it occurred. Right? Which is a pretty progressive, socially conscious country. But anyway, be that as it may, it's unfortunate.
Did you see what his penalty was? 1 year. 1 year suspended. So that means nothing.
Essentially, yeah.
Oof. Eesh. Yeah.
But his hockey career is over. Tampere released him too. He's done. So, you just threw a whole life away.
Yeah.
You threw your life away, and you've traumatized somebody else at the very least. So, but I do think, especially after the Team Canada fiasco or fiascos, as there's been a few, you're going to see NHL teams, and rightfully so, do a lot more digging on guys than just their character and what they bring to the rink. A hell of a lot more.
I think we've started seeing that for the last 5 years. I think.
Yeah, but I think the volume is going to get turned up, and as it should. I mean,
Agree.
this type of shit is unacceptable, and
Problem
Logan.
is there's going to be teams, i.e., Edmonton, who will just sign those guys either way. Because nobody wanted Patrick Kane. No, like there's guys in the league right now that had the blackball from a lot of teams, but there'll be somebody that signs them
if they're allowed to. I think those rules could change too.
I don't know how you're going to do that though. We can't even fine guys more than like $5,000 in the CBA. When's the CBA going to allow us to pick and choose what guys are allowed to play in the league?
Oh, I think it's coming because I think it has to. Society's not going to put up with this any longer, nor should it. So,
and I don't disagree. I'm almost playing devil's advocate just because I
it could take longer than it should. All of this has taken longer than it should to be taken as seriously as it is now.
I mean, this Team Canada thing, I don't see that being resolved for 5 years.
No, and they've said it's going to take however long to get to before the courts. It's insane, but for now, it's going to be up to the discretion of teams, and that'll include teams like the Oilers to say, no, we're not signing you, and we want nothing to do with you. And Evander Kane's a great example of that in terms of just egregious actions that should not be acceptable by any code of conduct in any professional league. But, I don't think he necessarily did anything as bad as some of the things we're discussing, but still, I do think.
No, I don't either. I was trying to come up with an example of a player who was pushed aside by, was literally just contract voided. Like Corey Perry is another one. Like we still don't know what Corey Perry did in Chicago, but his contract was voided and now he ends up on Edmonton, and evidently what he did, Edmonton doesn't think is bad enough. It's odd to me because some team will do it. And Edmonton goes and signs Kane and Perry and got no backlash, which is weird to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they'd roll those dice or why there's been no backlash, but I guess they roll the dice because they're cheap wingers who are skilled. But
does that make you not think that maybe like to be good you have to roll dice like that?
Well, Edmonton's mismanaged the cap so badly. I don't know about that, but whatever the case, something's going to have to give with all this because it can't continue the way that it has. It's like the cap situation, LTIR in Vegas. There's talk they're going to look at it now. Well, yeah, because they have to. It's the same thing with some of these issues with, players breaking the law or ethics violations. Like they're going to have to look at it because he keeps coming up, right? So,
do you think it gets looked at? Because this is going to go your perfect segue into our X Factor, and I had to laugh when I saw this the other night. It's from Matchsticks and Gasoline. The Flames should seriously consider sending a memo to the league's other 30 teams. If you are sick of this Vegas shit, please purposely tank your games against us so that we can pass them and make their LTIR nonsense futile. I thought it was hilarious. I thought,
I had to read it again to make sure I understood. Yeah.
What are we going to do though? Like, because from what I've heard around the league is that as much as it frustrates general managers and owners, they don't want to change it because every team utilizes the LTIR to help them.
Well, they have to look at the whole system because otherwise you're just going to keep encouraging teams to use it. And actually, a really funny tweet from a friend of mine, James Bailey in Ontario. James and I were, he worked for a supplier of mine at one point. We met at a couple trade shows. Anyway, Mark Stone with his lacerated spleen, and in Vegas comes out and says, well, he's out. Like a spleen is a fairly well understood procedure. Do not have it removed or whatever. And he's like, well, we don't know when he's going to be back. And I'm like, oh, bullshit. They don't know when he's going to go back. And James says, he's right. They don't know because they don't know when game 1 of the playoffs is yet.
Well, exactly. It's pretty blatant, isn't it?
It's flagrant. Blatant is like blatant's like saying crap, and flagrant's like saying shit. So I'm going to go with flagrant. It's abuse. It's unacceptable.
No, so I don't think the league goes to what how many more years do we have in the CBA? 6 years? Like they're not changing it in those 6 years. There's no way they're knocking on the door of the NHLPA and say, hey, we want to shuffle this LTIR thing. The league, I think the players would say screw off.
You know what? Whatever happens the next 6 years, I'm gonna call my shot now. We're gonna have a lockout anyway. Because we always have fucking lockouts. So.
No, we
Oh,
aren't.
yes. Unless Bettman's dead by then, which is a good chance based on his age and all those lovely factors. So that seemed really cryptic, but I don't know. I do know we're due for a leadership change in the NHL. One where you can criticize the officials. God bless John.
That'll ever happen? That'll never happen.
No, but I dream of it.
It'll never happen. But you know, funny, though. People rip on Bettman though, and I'm going to sound like an ass, but I'm going to go to bat for him. Like he's done a lot of really, really good things.
He's made the league financially viable, unquestionably.
I mean, you look at from when the day he took over to now, it's like it's night and day difference. So
absolutely.
Like, and he's actually saved Canadian teams. I know people in Canada hate him, and in the States they hate him too. The States doesn't even know why they hate him. They just hate him because everybody else moves him. It's weird, and I don't love everything the league does. Like, there's a lot of things I'd freaking change, starting with wearing white jerseys at home. That's where I would start. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's not is pretty strong.
Yeah, there's some stuff he does. Like this whole Arizona thing is.
It is.
That's an example of a guy that, I don't know why he gave up on Atlanta so easily, but he won't give up on Arizona. I don't get it.
Now they want to go back to Atlanta for the third time.
Can't do it. Makes no sense.
Third time. There's an ownership group with Anson Carter that wants to bring they're talking they want 36 teams in this league. It's ludicrous. You can't do that. This team, 36 teams?
Yeah, that's absurd. Absurd.
Oh, my God. I don't know. What do you think of Andrei Kuzmenko lately?
Seems like he's been hurt a fair bit or sick. I don't know how he factors in going forward. He's an exciting player with a wicked shot, but I could see him being flipped in the summer.
Wow, boy, we're gonna have to eat on that.
We'll have a year left at that point, though.
Yeah,
and he might be a good fit playing alongside like a Gaudreau in Columbus or something. You never know. Somebody might identify him as a good fit.
Where are we at with our young players? I mean, is Pospisil going to be a long-term guy? Is Zary going to be a long-term guy? Where's Dryden Hunt fit into this mix? Where's Walker Dewar fit into this? Where's Pelche, Coronado? Where do these guys all fit in?
We don't know yet. Well, we know Zary and Pospisil are everyday NHLers. Like the team's record with Pospisil in the lineup is way better than without him. And Zary's a regular contributor now too. Those two guys, there's no question about do they fit on this team and in prominent roles. Pelche, we're not sure yet. Coronado, we're not sure yet. Hunt is really a really good AHLer who's parading as an NHLer, in my opinion. Like,
yeah,
that kind of shows. And really, so is Kevin Rooney. Although Kevin Rooney, I had found out, as I'm sure you heard as well, he changed his routine last summer. He made himself a bit quicker.
Oh, yeah.
And he made himself a much more effective NHLer. So I don't find him as offensive in the lineup offensive to watch I don't know as I once did.
I don't have a problem with him like centering the fourth line and then being a key member of our penalty kill. Like I'm fine with that. Like that's fine.
Yeah, 100%. No, I have no issue with that either. But I think there's other guys we need to see, and we probably would have, but now I'm not so sure. Like Jeremy Poirier, would have been cool to see him get a couple games in, but he missed so much of the year. I'm not sure it's a good idea now. Wolf, we need to see more, like we said.
Why do I expect more from Matthew Coronado?
Because of his draft pedigree and the opportunity has been given.
Well, he's so good. He's so effective in the American Hockey League, and then I watch him in an NHL game, and he just like fades off into the sun.
Well, it's a big step up. It's like a huge step up, and I always think back to that goal Coronado scored against Pittsburgh. Tells you can be a goal scorer in the NHL, I think, but he's getting chances. But some guys, it just takes longer for them to get their head around it. I think a good summer of training, he goes back to camp in shape. Next year he could be a 2020 guy. Like, you never know.
Yeah. Who do you feel more comfortable with for the future going forward, Pelche or Coronado?
Pelche, because his game isn't predicated as much on offense. He can do everything reasonably well.
So is Pelche the next Dylan Dubé then? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean he's a versatile guy.
There's a lot of ways you can mean that.
Yeah, you could take that in a lot of ways. I mean, like that versatile roster guy that never pops, but he's like your third line right or third line left winger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He can play up and down the lineup, but do it more effectively than Dubé did. I hope a little bit more offense. Dubé had one decent offensive season, and we're not likely to see him again. So there's an opening for that type of player.
We have a lot of openings.
Yeah.
we
do. This is a weird show because like the deadline's done, the team's out of the playoffs.
I know it's like
the draft picture's not clear yet, and we're just getting smoked every time we step on the ice. So go Wranglers.
They're not even playing that well right now.
No, they're not. So, what do you want me to do? I throw out my idea. You give me one.
What do you want to talk about music for the final 10 minutes here or what?
Oh, Lord. I'm not sure if I get another 10 minutes in me the way I'm feeling. I've been muting myself for half the show, I feel like.
I feel like, as a whole fan base, I feel like we're going to need counseling. We need to figure out how to cope with not being. It's not like we've been a cup contender here the last few years, but like we've been a viable team. Like we really 2 years ago, people were picking us to be in the cup finals and stuff. So we go from that excitement, to this, and it's like crap. We know it had that this was going to happen. How does it not when you lose that many UFAs, right? But we had to get assets for him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought our return was fine. And
how do you pronounce the new guy's last name? Number 28.
Oh, come on! What are you doing? Why did you do that to me, man? Because I don't know.
Did you hear
I've heard it
100 times?
I've heard it, and I never can. I never can. Let me hang on a second.
You don't need to do this. I'm not. I don't. We're all suffering enough right now.
Like I can figure it out here. Let me pull it up here on the media page here, and it will tell us. Because it'll give you a. It's like let's sound it out, right? Hang on, let me figure out how to do this. But no, it's really a hard name, and they said it like 5 times last night.
Why doesn't Rick Ball have Twitter? This would be so much easier.
Why? Because he would have it on there?
Yeah, I feel like he'd help us. I like Rick Ball.
I do too. But you think he even knows?
No, I'm not so sure.
Okay, let me get to the Calgary. Let's see if this works here. Alrighty.
This is how we're going to end the show. This is going to be our positive. This is going
to be our positive. We're going to figure out how to say this guy's name. He's probably not even on their roster. Let me turn my volume up on my other computer. And where's he at? There it is. Here it is.
Nikita Okhotyuk. Nikita Okhotyuk.
Wow.
Yep.
Thanks for doing that. It almost sounds Aboriginal.
That's pretty. Here's another name I always screw up. And
Braden Pahal.
Why do I screw that one up sometimes?
Because the C is silent, and it shouldn't be. It's stupid.
It's Pahal. And you know what? I loved him up until 2 nights ago. He had a rough goal. Man, he looked like he was out in the ocean trying to swim there for a while.
It was not good. It was not good.
That was against Carolina. I was like, oh my gosh. Oof. Yeah. Felt bad for him. He went to the bench. It was like, oh, like, what do I even do here?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get to learn, and we're going to learn a lot over the next month. And
we're going to learn how to be positive in the face of immense adversity.
We have no choice.
Right,
we have no choice. Right?
This reminds me of like a workplace, like a factory with like these shitty motivational things on the wall, like work hard.
Do I need to add a little motivational thing up in the top of our corner of our screen for every show?
I don't know.
Thanks for listening. In '89, we were good.
It's like on it's like on The Office when I think it's Kelly's birthday and Dwight has the banner made. It is your birthday. It's
oh gosh. Well, we survived, and hopefully the listeners survived. What do
This
we
wasn't
have?
our worst show. I mean, it wasn't even our most negative show.
It wasn't. We've
It
been
was
way
just
more
a
mad.
show. Yeah.
It was just one of those shows where, you know what, you're right. You summed up a little bit ago when you said, we come on a deadline and like reality just kicked us in the balls this week. Like it didn't slap us in the face. It kicked us in the balls. And
yeah,
it hit where we know where we're going here. And it's going to be a little bit of a process, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Who knows? Maybe Sam Reinhart signs here.
Maybe. One can dream.
One can dream.
Because that's all we have right now is dreams.
Highly unlikely, but we can dream, right?
Yeah.
All right, what lies ahead? Thursday, Vegas is in at the Dome. Gets better.
I'll be in a box at the Wildcats game watching the Cats. I forget who they're playing, but watching the future Etienne Monet.
Oh, good.
Cats. Because God knows it's better than watching that Vegas game, even though that game will be on by the time I get home.
Here's the good news. Saturday, Montreal's in Calgary. We can probably win that game. And then Monday, Washington is, and Washington is an old floundering team.
Yes.
You know what I heard today? And then we'll get out of here. But you know what I heard today? I heard the Edmonton Oilers are tied with the Pittsburgh Penguins as the oldest roster in the league.
Really?
Yeah. I was surprised. I had the same look on my face when I heard it.
You know, it's funny. I muted myself because I was sniffling, but I also muted myself because I needed a moment to consider that.
Yeah. Is that crazy?
It is.
Average age at 29.
I think Corey fucking Perry didn't help, so.
No. Might help on the ice, though.
Well,
so,
anyway.
I know. I cheered against him so hard when he's in Anaheim that, oh, man. Well, the show's going to be much different as we head into the coming weeks. And we're going to make the best of it. Lots of Flames talk. We're going to have a little fun. Who knows? We'll be talking about all this stuff, right?
Any and every positive we can possibly find.
We need to figure out positives. If anybody has positives as the weeks go on, send them to us.
Yeah, please tweet us. Help us. Help us! Said Flames fan everywhere.
Well, we're back to normalcy now after the deadline, though, so the shows will be normal in that aspect. Just gotta. Hopefully, we have some things to talk about. So. All right, Kyle, you survived. You get healthy, okay?
Well, I'm gonna try. I'll do my damnedest. Thanks for hanging in with me, though.
Oh, well,
I don't know why. I don't know why I chose the week where I have like a horrible cold to do the intro.
That's fine. It was good. Like, I've been fighting colds too this year. I don't know. I've been more colds this year than I've had in a long time.
Huh.
One of those ones.
Yeah. Anyway, we shall see what lies ahead. It'll be interesting as it always is, and we will be along for the ride with each and every one of you to support you through your misery.
Have a good week, Flames fans. We are back next week talking more Flames hockey. Flames Unfiltered.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.